Greens and yoga cool people, like that. Whistling in the ear is a sign of a serious change. I can't guarantee that yoga will cure the whistling in the ear. This is a serious pathology. Serious changes have already occurred there. I'm not sure if this can be cured at all. I don't know any methods. Your question in the front row.
My husband is a wonderful person, but he is always picking on me, saying I set the table wrong, combed the children's hair wrong, and so on.
Well, that's what a wonderful person is. That means that the vector of love goes in his direction. You like him, and as a result, he becomes insolent.
He says, accept me as I am, don't pay attention, and he ends up apologizing. He says, well, I'm just like this, but I can't manage to not pay attention.
So don't pay attention. You need to understand one thing. Only self-respect will enable him to respect you. The more you jump on your hind legs in front of him, the more insolent he becomes. You should learn to show your strength, and strength comes from God. Your vector of love goes towards him. You like him and he becomes insolent. He feels very proud of himself beside you. That's why you should learn to take strength from God. That's the only option. If you're weak, he will be insolent. I'm telling you that love among people has a selfish nature.
And the weakness is probably that I argue with him and try to prove that I'm right. Yes? Because I can't stay silent at all. It's very difficult.
No, that's okay. Why should you be silent? You'll go crazy then. No, that's not the issue. The point is that if a woman is strong, a man won't even start picking on her. He'll feel that it won't work. A strong person protects themselves and their dignity. Why do you argue with him? Because you endure until the last moment and then you start taking it out on your husband. That's how it is. The reason for enduring is that you depend on him, but you should depend on God. If he feels that you're a little independent, he will respect you more. The problem is that he doesn't respect you. Do you respect him? You wouldn't make unnecessary remarks to him, right? Or would you?
It happens, yes.
Do you also make unnecessary remarks?
He does it more.
I see. If people get very close to each other in their personal lives, this is called interdependence and attachment. The closer people get to each other, the more they depend on each other, the more they argue, because their sensitivity and intolerance to each other intensifies. Therefore, a person should learn to be dependent on nature, on good people, and invite friends to their home. The more often you invite friends, the less you will argue, because your energy will be spent on them, not on each other.
He doesn't like guests at all.
That's why you're focused on each other. Okay, he doesn't like guests. Go out for walks so that your energy goes to nature. Feed the birds, put up a birdhouse. And you'll see how it works. Put up a birdhouse, pour some grains. Birds will come and it will be easier for you to tolerate him because you're locked into each other. Imagine if you listen to a lecture not for 3 hours but for 20 hours every day and you see me and think how tired I am of you already. Although you think I'll never bore you, I do bore my wife. Because all people, when focused on each other, get tired of each other, especially husband and wife. They spend energy on each other, become exhausted and tired. There's a beautiful song about this topic by the ensemble Divya Rosa. Detach yourselves, break away, otherwise you'll go crazy. The more people become attached to each other, the more they irritate each other. That's the law. You need birds, nature, friends, fresh air, a temple. Even if you just set up an altar at home, it will already make life easier. When people pay attention to God, it already becomes easier. Mental exhaustion occurs. You've tortured each other. This can lead to the destruction of the family in the future. It can get to the point where you start to have tantrums and cuss. Then someone won't be able to take it anymore and will find someone else who has experienced this. This is very dangerous, so never lock yourself into your loved one. You should care for each other and help, but you have to take strength from somewhere, from nature, from good people, from God. These are natural sources of strength for a person. For example, how did people live before? In a village, everyone knew each other, saying hello all the time, socializing. A person wasn't focused on just one person. People lived in large communities, but now people don't know each other. They live in birdhouses, in incubators. And there's no contact. Everyone is isolated from each other. Contact is only with one person. It's clear that this all leads to destruction. How long can you communicate with only one person? A person gets tired. There's no happiness in this. I'm not taking back words about the tendency towards your humiliation in the relationship. That's also present. There's also the problem that you should learn to communicate. Do you have friends? A large circle of friends? So you fill yourself with friends. He also has to be filled. He should do something with it. Okay, well, your question, young lady.
Hello. Thank you very much for the opportunity to ask a question. I have a business that I love very much and I have been doing for a long time. But for some reason, there isn't the development as I would like.
What kind of business?
I sell perfumes. I sell perfume through social media. I actually sell good products and work honestly, as if I am doing everything for God.
You know, development is such a complex matter. The world is changing very fast, and now there's a trend towards individualization of everything. If we're talking about sales, now you need to literally sell personally to each individual, explaining what suits them and what they need. You have to focus not so much on selling perfumes, but more on consulting about what a person needs for their face. With these consultations, your sales will grow if you have your own network of consultations.
That's how it happens for me. But I've just been thinking maybe I'm in the wrong business.
These are other thoughts. You're doing the right thing. You have enough money for living, if we speak among ourselves. Therefore, your feelings of dissatisfaction come from the fact that you're not developing spiritually enough, because money doesn't provide an outlet in life. A person gets joy only from spiritual communication, from spiritual development. Activity according to one's abilities should turn into activity according to one's nature. That means you should understand that the result of your activity should be service to God. Maybe you need to donate a little to a temple or pray more yourself. That means you should engage in spiritual practice. You need to understand this principle that your life is confined to production and consumption. I'm going to explain now. A person eats, sleeps, works. For what? An animal also eats, sleeps, looks for food. It has a family. It's all the same. Animals have children. It's all the same. How are we different from animals? Tell me, what is the meaning of human life, the happiness of human life for all people?
I serve God and the church. I have movement in this direction, even more than that. So my occupation is purely for covering needs, actually.
Good. Then you should be happy and you don't have any problems. I'm going to tell you how a person generally develops. This will be an esoteric explanation. That means it's not what you think. You're asking how to increase sales. No business coach will tell you what I'm about to tell you. People don't understand this. It's important to know this, to have spiritual knowledge. The more a person gives themselves to people and God and even to nature, the more they become filled or devout, and the more attractive they become. I can just walk into any store and tell everything about its manager, because the energy of the store emanates from them. One has a kind energy. You like to buy everything there. Another has an exhausted, unhappy energy. The third has a tense energy, and so on. This is called a person's devoutness. Whatever a person fills themselves with, they can have different flavors, sweet taste, bitter taste, and so on. The more a person works on themselves, the purer their life is and the better impact they have on what they do. If you say you help in the church, then that help is what makes you sales. Luck in your life comes through your purity. People are attracted to you and your products because of this. If you are more focused on God, there will be more attractiveness. And there will be more sales. As strange as it may seem, it's a paradox.
Well, did I choose the right business for me? I've been thinking about changing the field of activity.
You're definitely in the right one. Money comes through Venus. Venus means beauty. So you're selling beauty and you're a leader by your nature. You didn't think so, did you? And I don't even need to think much to tell you this. I can tell you I have a secret. First-class ladies dress very simply, beautifully, and simply. They may have some religious styles of clothing. They dress beautifully and simply. Women from the second category dress very status-oriented. It's dressing like you're at a ball. They dress for status. You're like that. Ladies of the third category dress very brightly and colorfully, very fashionable. And ladies of the fourth category dress as they want, as they like. They don't care at all. Therefore, it is easy to understand that if the clothes are stylish, the woman belongs to the first, second, or third category. A person from the fourth category has their own kind of clothes. What styles are there? The first category has a very strict and clean style, not too eye-catching. I mean for ladies. Ladies of the second category have a social, highly status-oriented style. Women of the third category have a fashionable, attention-grabbing style. That's it. Your clothes are status-oriented. It's the second category. I can just open my eyes a little and I can see right away.
I've wanted to give it up a few times, but I just can't do it.
All women always want to leave their business. Why? Because it's difficult for a woman to work, to do something in society. She gets tired all the time, therefore she likes it but always wants to leave. They always think, maybe it's not for me, probably not mine. It's all yours. You were born for this activity.
Everyone tells me that, but I think if that were the case, there should have been some breakthrough.
Breakthrough in what? In what? Do you want money coming out of a bucket on you or what?
I've always wanted my own store, but it doesn't come to that. Is it because I lack devoutness?
It's not because of that. When a person has enough devoutness, it attracts those in higher positions. For example, the government might simply say, let's make it better for you. The devoutness means that everyone loves the person and is attracted to them. Great managers come to them. Everything is created by itself. They don't even need to try. You just should realize that it's not going to get into your head as deeply as it should, because people still don't understand these topics. They think that maybe they need to work more somehow, or maybe move to another city, or they make up something else. They don't understand that the means for living come from fate. The more benefits a person brings to people, the more noticeable and needed they become, and the more opportunities they have in life. That's how this world is arranged.
But am I moving in the right direction? This is very important to me.
You're moving in the right direction, of course. Remember yourself 3.5 years ago. You were in a terrible depression, and now you're all happy. Have you forgotten? How did you live without God? 3.5 years ago you had no spiritual life, and now you do. It's a colossal difference. Well, that's it. Why are you asking me then? Have you simply forgotten how you lived before?
Thank you. I'm very grateful for your answer.
Your question, young lady.
Hello.
I will also be as happy as you are when I talk to you and clap my hands. Oh, great. Well, I liked how you were happy to see me. Why can't I be happy as well? I should be so excited too.
This is my first time at your lecture.
It's my first time with you too.
I'm very happy. I have a question about purpose. I have 2 degrees, engineering and linguistics. I've worked as a teacher and an engineer.
It's the same thing, engineer and teacher. You belong to the first category.
I'm good at both.
Yes, because that's your purpose.
But engineering is such an office job. It brings more income. Now I teach, and I like it more because I work with people.
You always have to choose between money or happiness. Tortilla the turtle asked, what do you want, money or happiness in life? You must answer this question. If you work as a teacher, you'll have less money. Because either a person works according to their abilities, they will have more money but less happiness, and will get tired there. You forgot it, but when you worked in the office, you got very tired there. Fatigue, money, no happiness. This is one option. Happiness, less fatigue, less money. The second option in life, and you can't have it all together. To have everything together, you need more devoutness. Let's say a woman wants a tall and handsome guy, but lacks devoutness. She gets either a tall and not handsome one, or a handsome but not tall one. But you have to choose one of the two. Well, you see, you can only have one thing. Nothing can be done about it.
Well, I chose happiness. I will teach.
That's right. You should choose what your heart likes and develop spiritually. Increase your devoutness. And gradually there will be more money. That's how it should be done.
Can I ask about love as well?
About love? It's always interesting to talk about love.
I had a marriage, but now we are 7 years divorced and I can't meet anyone.
You don't meet any man in your life, any at all.
How can I meet someone then?
You don't need to meet someone, you need to set yourself right. You should love all women, all people around you, care for everyone, and accumulate feminine energy. Then you just need to knock some guy off his feet. You got to get him down. As the song goes, with a flying gait, you came out of paradise and disappeared from sight. Do you understand the system? You need to look once and that's it, he's ready. If there's feminine power, you always meet someone. And if there's no power, you don't meet anyone.
How can I increase my feminine power?
Well, I am talking about this in every lecture. You need to help women, make friends, go to some events, be happy for everyone, love everyone, take care of everyone, go to the temple to serve. You should be happy for everyone everywhere. Socialize more, bring more goodness and happiness to people. All these things make a woman beautiful in her heart. Beautiful heart doesn't mean beautiful on the outside. Neither makeup nor anything else will help with this. If a woman has external beauty, she attracts with lust, evokes a desire for sex in men, but the desire to marry does not come from it. The second option is the beauty of a woman's heart. It evokes responsibility in a man. He sees such a woman and he wants to take care of her. He wants to marry her so that she lives next to him, so that they have children together. The beauty of a woman's heart arises as a result of relationships and communication with people. She is filled with the power of heart beauty from people. At first, Lyudmila becomes dear to people and then beautiful. Dear means beautiful. How can I lift a barbell, Dr. Torsunov? Practice. Go to a gym and practice. Lift, and at some point you'll lift it. You can't meet a man. How to get married? Well, it's not like trains that just go and go, meet once and then move on. You need to attract a person with feminine power. The strongest win in this world. No one meets, it's just a force, and that's it. I know examples when a disabled woman attracted a normal person without problems. Because she listened to lectures. She had no other choice. She began to develop and work on herself, and she attracted her future husband. As in the movie, It's Not My Fault, he came on his own. Everything depends on power. If you act in the right way, everything will come. Ladies, please raise your hands who succeeded in this. Look, you started doing this and things started to improve. There's a lack of knowledge on how to live in the heart. It seems impossible. When I started running, I ran 500 meters for the first time. I was out of breath. It seemed to me then that I would never be able to run, for example, 10 kilometers. It was 4 years ago. For me, it was just some kind of extreme number that was absolutely unattainable. I was sure that I would never be able to run that much. Never at all. Now I run 16, 17 kilometers without problems. 4 years have passed and the body has become completely different. Everything changes in life thanks to the fact that a person acts in some direction, moves. And now a prediction. At the moment when you will be internally indifferent whether you get married or not, you will be so filled with life and communication. You'll be fine in life as it is. At the moment when you will no longer worry so much, it won't bother you, although you will still want to get married. At this moment you will get married. As soon as a person reaches the right condition, they immediately get the desired result. People think that somehow they're unlucky in life. It's complete nonsense to think so. What a person achieves in life, they get immediately. God never waits, not for a second. We immediately receive what we deserve. The problem is that we live in a dream. We want more than we deserve. That's the problem. So you have to live on your money. How much devoutness you've accumulated, so much happiness you'll have in life. So accumulate it, do good deeds. Live for other people. Be kind to others and there will be more happiness. I remember seeing one lady at the festival. She participated in a comedy show and she sang a song with love for people about kindness, about the sun, and it was so beautiful, so great. The organizers immediately noticed her and right away included her in the festival team. And now she's here, already pregnant. Well, you know that people don't get pregnant from thin air, so there must be a husband. So if a woman loves everyone, she is active, cheerful, and attractive, things in her life get better right away. She doesn't need to worry about anything. Your question.
I want to ask a question not for myself, but for my friend, because she needs my help.
What's her name?
Her name is Natasha. She lives in America. She cries all the time and doesn't want to come to Russia.
Usually people who live in America don't want to go to Russia, but they cry and cry. She lacks God in her life. When there is enough God in your life, you live in prayer and properly set yourself up into God, God protects you. As for her life, I see that now there's chaos in her life, which literally means bad fate. What does this mean? It means that she behaved so badly in her past life that now this fate is destroying her entire life. Bad fate has come into her life. It's affecting her now. About 6 months ago, an evil fate suddenly fell upon her and began to ruin everything. There is only one protection from bad fate, remembering God. She shouldn't whine, cry, or complain as she does. She should overcome fate and things will start to get better. Good fortune will come into her life. Her husband will calm down, stop being angry. Kind people will start helping and everything will work out. She should think that bad fate comes through her husband, but he will calm down. If I were in her place, I would think like this. I would simply start thinking about God, praying a lot, and everything would work out. When the sun rises, all the shadows disappear. Shadows mean degradation and darkness. Everything disappears and happiness and purity comes. There's no other way out. If she can't think about God herself, then she should experience the miracle of the Lord. She should go where miracles happen. Once I came to Kazan. There's an icon of the Kazan Mother of God, and it has a lot of gold and silver chains hanging on it. The priest says, well, we remove them once every 6 months, but they hang new ones. What are these chains? Well, if a person came there with an incurable disease, prayed to the icon, they suddenly healed. Or let's say a husband left, she prayed once, and he returned. You see, it is a miracle. And when a person sees a miracle, they buy a gold or silver chain and hang it on this icon. And there are always a lot of such chains hanging there. Sometimes a person needs a miracle to start doing something to overcome fate. It activates a person, they develop faith, they get involved in all this when they see a miracle. That's why God sometimes performs miracles. But this doesn't mean that we should rely on miracles and come to God saying, "Come on, perform miracles for me." You see, we must understand the principle of life. The more one remembers about oneself, the stronger the influence of fate. The more one remembers about God, the faster one destroys bad fate, and only good fate remains. One should forget about oneself and think about God. Now raise your hand who has noticed that you just attend the lecture now, and somehow your life has become better. Just from the fact that you came to the lecture, well, you see, this is the victory over fate. You just came to the lecture. Everything gets better, life becomes easier. This is called overcoming fate. Because here we think about something sublime for 3 hours, and so every day, and that's it. Life improves just from this. Imagine if a person immerses themselves in prayer, they can break down all obstacles. But the most important thing is the principle of prayer. It's not about crying, whining, I feel bad. Prayer means happiness, so you think about God, rejoice in Him, serve, think about Him, feel happiness from Him, fill yourself with sunlight. Prayer means sunlight. It's not tears, it's not crying, it's not grief, it's happiness. When you're already in separation from God and can't live without Him, then you can cry. Sorrow is also necessary when you love so much and you're separated from God. But this is a very high level of development. At first, a person should look at icons with joy. They should love, rejoice, love the sacred, think about it, bow, serve, and forget about themselves. This is what a person should do in order for bad fate to stop acting. Once when I came to St. Petersburg, organizers asked me to take them home, a married couple, husband and wife. They have their own business and they told me their story. The representatives of the so-called authorities once came to their office. They said that they liked their business, therefore they should sell it cheaply, otherwise they would go to prison. They kindly replied that they also liked their business and run it honestly, so they will pray to God not to go to prison. Because everything depends on the Lord. And the criminals said, well, let's see who everything depends on. They started to harass them, trying to conduct all kinds of inspections and so on. But everything was honest with them. Let's say those people file some kind of complaint against them. They come and see that there's nothing wrong, they're good people, and nobody did anything to them. They prayed and prayed while the others tried and tried and tried. And what was the result? They themselves ended up in prison, and this couple continued to work as before. Because when a person overcomes their fate, no one can touch them with a finger. When a person has worked through and defeated their bad fate, no one can do anything to them, because there's no reason for it. There's no grounds at all. Your friend should act and go this way. When chaos begins, there are no other ways in such situations except joyful prayer. But she is not in this mood. She is on the side of despair and crying. Fear, despair, pain, and crying are useless activities. Everything will be destroyed if she thinks and acts this way.
Dr. Torsunov, I'm incredibly grateful to you for truly changing and reprogramming our consciousness.
And my mentor asked me why I give lectures. I said, well, to help people. He said, think more seriously. I tried to answer again more deeply. Probably I received some grace from reading the lectures. He said, well, that's closer. Then he explained that when I give lectures, firstly, because I'm saying this, I understand it more deeply myself, and secondly, people bless me. And so it's still unknown who helps who more. Okay, go ahead and ask.
I have a question. I listen to your lectures very attentively all the time. I started running thanks to you. Thank you very much.
Good, excellent. Are you feeling well?
I constantly pray, serve, and spend time with friends. I've always dreamed of having a family. I love children very much. I have loved family relationships since childhood.
What a person dreams about, they don't get. You understand that too, right?
Yes.
You have to get out of the dream into action, and then calmness should come. So has calmness come?
Well, yes, I've changed a lot.
Are you dating someone?
Many men are trying, but no one.
You don't like them?
I can't understand myself. I guess I lack, as you say, beauty.
No, it's a bit different. It's female. One lady asked me, when will I get married? I explained it to her like this. When your potential husband becomes a little better, improves a bit, and your expectations of him get a little bit smaller. At that moment you'll connect, because all women have one problem, as they are so beautiful, pretty, and delicate. They think they deserve the ideal, but in reality, it's a complete illusion. Because for a man, all the best is inside, and for a woman, All the best is outside, and the truth is in the middle. A woman thinks that she needs a man to relax and live happily afterwards. Maybe it's good to think this way, but if you're already so advanced and praying so intensely, it's possible. To find a very good husband, then relax and live happily. It's possible, but very unlikely. Most likely in this world, God gives a woman a man so that she can help him improve, because a woman is closer to God. Look around, it's mostly women sitting at the lecture. She's closer to God, she has more conscience, she's focused on self-improvement and development. When she sees that a man isn't living right, her heart bleeds, and she nags him, nags until he starts living properly, or she inspires him. She does something with him, doesn't let him live until he develops as a person. That's why God always gives a woman a man who's a bit worse, so that he has room to grow. And he falls in love, thinking, what an elevated woman, what an exalted princess, so unattainable and better than me, and that's it. Well, you see, this is where the dilemma lies. Why are there so many lonely people? A woman wants someone better than herself, and a man also wants someone better than himself. It turns out to be some kind of illusion.
A man from Venezuela fell in love with me. I lived in Chongqing, then came here for a while. I saw that my mother was alone, and I don't want to leave her here anymore. I made the decision to move here. I moved. It was difficult. I overcame it anyway, started praying diligently again, and it all passed. Now I feel happy here. But just imagine, he's in Venezuela, I'm here.
Well, go to Venezuela then.
There's a war there.
No, you shouldn't go to a war zone. Then let him come here. Doesn't he want to?
What would he do here? He doesn't know the language. He speaks Spanish.
Well, go somewhere together to another country where there's no war and live there.
Okay.
What's okay?
I don't know. I'm not really considering him.
You're not considering him? Then why are we talking about him at all?
Because he came along. You said that relationships and attachments are created by God, not by us.
Well, then you need to consider him.
This is my big mistake, I know. 10 years ago,
Well, if you tell me that you got married 40 years ago, that's kind of late.
10 years ago, I was married, and 6 months after the wedding, I saw how lazy he was. I started arguing. I had many stereotypes. I'm so good, I work, and why don't you work? So many complaints, and only after your lectures, I really regret it deeply, right from within.
But this is a good person. He's so kind, so poetic. He probably recites poems to you, right?
No. He plays football, but he's also still not married.
Move with him to another country.
That's a different one. That's my ex.
And this one, from Venezuela, he's poetic. He recites poems to you, right?
He's a real scholar, very intelligent.
This one from Venezuela, he's a great person. We'll find some country, move there with him.
And my mother?
You can help your mother from a distance. Sometimes women make the wrong decision. They choose their parents over their personal life and end up losing their personal life as a result. I know many examples. You can't help your mother, you understand? You can't live her life for her. You can send her money, talk on the phone, and pray for her. You need to go visit this person from Venezuela and try to get him out of that country if there's a war there. Is there a war going on there? Well, then let's get him out of there. Your marriage is destined to be abroad, not in Russia. When you're married, you won't be living here in Russia. Somewhere in Brazil, where there are many wild monkeys, go there. No, really, it will be fine there. All right, my dear, there's too much of you today. Your question.
Dr. Torsunov, thank you very much for the lecture. The most concerning question is about what I mentioned yesterday, that I'm going through a divorce process. But I have concerns about the fact that the person is feeling bad. And when I lived with him, I had a feeling that I should help him. Now I'm leaving, and it hurts me. I feel as if I've done something bad.
Do you want to know more about this? Won't it be dangerous for you? No? You lived with this person in your previous life, and in that past life, he helped you when you were in a bad state. He left you in exactly the same way. You know very well what state he's in now because he left you in exactly the same state. That's all I can tell you.
Thank you. Another question. There are people who borrowed money from me and are not paying me back. I have two paths. I want to forgive, but on the other hand, I don't want to do it.
If you forgive these people, they will degrade. You should punish them, even though they were your good acquaintances. You spent a lot of time with them, you should punish them. It's your duty. Whether they'll return the money to you or not, I don't know, but most likely they will if you punish them. But you should know their state of mind now. They're not returning the money to you because they really need the money right now. They have big plans for this money, and that's why they're not returning it to you. This means that they are deceiving you because everyone has plans for money. You have them too. The most important thing you should understand is that they have the money to pay you back, and they should be punished for this.
I understand. And one more question is how to cure a virus?
Any virus settles on toxins that arise as a result of aging. When a person has no toxins, the virus has nothing to do inside because there's nothing to feed on. For example, to get Napoleon out of Moscow, you need to make sure there's nothing to eat and he won't stay in Moscow. He'll leave from there's nothing to eat, he needs to feed the soldiers and he'll go from Moscow to some other place. That's all. It's the same with a virus. When you run, all toxins burn up. The virus has nothing to feed on, so it leaves. The body, rather, eliminates it on its own afterwards because the virus weakens without nutrition. The virus becomes weak. And during this time, the body consumes it itself. That's the system.
Thank you.
Good questions.